But speaking of The Voice, it is leading the national broadsheet tomorrow with The Australian saying all or nothing. Anthony Albanese has set up a 3-month political brawl with Peter Dutton after endorsing a constitutionally enshrined Indigenous voice to Parliament. But I think the real story is the inside story by Paige Taylor, the Indigenous Affairs correspondent with The Australian. Her headline reads, "Marathon meeting that won the race." The group of 6 knew that they had to see the Prime Minister in secret to get a deal done. In a city office in Adelaide on Thursday last week, the 20 Indigenous leaders in Anthony Albanese's referendum working group were on the cusp of a historic agreement that could change Australian politics forever. That story there, you wait till you see it in print tomorrow. It is absolutely wonderful by Leah Mendez there. But Michelle, it's been a pretty historic day, but it's kind of weird because no actual legitimate legislative change has happened, but it just feels that it is momentous. The starting gun, as the Prime Minister said today, has been fired.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a journalist and I consider myself not too dumb, but I'm still confused as to what it is we're going to be voting on. As Dutton said, it's still incredibly vague, and it's vague in my mind. Look, there is no doubt there are some things that need to change, and I don't have an issue with the idea of an Indigenous voice to Parliament. But, you know, if Labor actually had listened to some of their Labor MPs, their leading Indigenous MPs, then maybe, you know, issues like Alice Springs would be fixed, because I feel like we're delaying and obfuscating and not really worrying too much about what is actually going on here. And there are some real issues, some real crisis that needs to be solved, and that's in Alice Springs. But while all that is going on, we're talking about an Indigenous voice to Parliament, and we've got a working group. There's a lot of people sitting around and congratulating each other and patting each other out on the back, but we still don't know what it is that we're voting on. And I guarantee you, most people out there don't know what it is that they're going to be voting on.
I think you're absolutely correct, and you are never ever call yourself dumb anywhere, even on this show ever again.
I feel stupid because I feel like I am stupid.
No, not at all. And this is the thing, Cara, right? So Dennis Shanahan also writes tomorrow, sweeping power politics at play, because this is the crux of the argument. The Indigenous voice to Parliament does not exist, and yet it has already had a massive victory in entrenching its ability to intervene in advance without limit in any Commonwealth decision. Sorry, that was very West Australian any of me right there. But it is interesting because it basically, the Prime Minister has rejected the advice of the Solicitor General, and it's giving more power to this group when it is, if it is enshrined.
Right, and just to make Michelle feel better, I have 2 law degrees and I still don't really understand it.
Oh, thank God.
I've read the Langdon Karma report. So I'm still not really that far along myself, so please don't feel bad. And you make a really good point there, Jenna. But that ultimate power play, that could either be the thing that wins it or the thing that actually loses it, because, you know, this has been sold to us very softly as, oh, it's just an advisory group and it's just to kind of be a helping hand to help out in policy on Indigenous issues, and all of a sudden, you know, we are starting to get a bit of a better look at it, and all of a sudden, well, actually, it is going to have more power and more impact on things that don't just relate to purely Indigenous policy. So that there will be very interesting how that bears out in the debate. And I say debate because on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald, it quotes the Prime Minister saying the voice won't be silenced. We are not like you, Prime Minister. We don't like to silence people. We just want to debate the substance. So how about you pony up with it?
Yeah, look, I think there's obviously got a long way to run, but I think we have to just full commendation to the working group. I think it was regardless of your politics, it was a really moving press conference today. So well done to the Prime Minister and everyone involved, because it was a great step forward. So let's look forward to what's to